So I was thinking about this recently. Um, we came up in some of the same kind of environments where a lot of things are very specific to our neighborhoods and like our upbringing. One of those things is like nicknames, right? You got like dudes who, man, you talking about hustling ass Chris. Oh yeah, man, you talking about lion ass Sam. But then you got Honest Abe. Abraham Lincoln was called Honest Abe. How tall was he keeping it to where they was calling him Honest Abe? Like not the Abe from over there. We talking about Honest Abe, like that one. He was keeping it super tall. That's an insane. Who have you ever heard anybody else get called honest something before? Like it's just him. He's a 101, dog. Shout out to him for that alone. You know what I'm saying? I never met him personally. I wasn't there, so I don't know. But how tall was he keeping it, man? That shit is insane.
He had to be one of them just for no reason. Like, hey, that shirt ugly as fuck. You need to take that off, bro. Like
Yeah.
one of them.
Like you already know, like you come around him with the fucked up lineup and all that, he gonna be like, yo, bro, come on, what you doing? You know what I'm saying? You gotta switch your barb up and all that. You know you're gonna keep it tall with you. Honest Abe is crazy. It's a
You're talking
crazy
about
handle to
Abraham.
have.
You talking about Abraham Lincoln?
Yeah.
You know what's crazy about that, and this is why they asked me to break. That's why they asked me to break down lyrics. Abraham Lincoln was 6'4", so he was
Oh,
always
Keeping it
keeping
tall
it
for
tall.
real. Yeah. There
He's
you go.
always
See?
keeping it tall. You know what
There
I'm
we
saying?
go. There we go. So that means I ain't gonna lie, man. The Bulls might need to call. Never mind, cause fuck the Bulls, but no, forget it. We back in the building. I know you hear a couple voices. Y'all know what's going on. We gonna get to the introductions in a minute. This is episode 32, All for the Love. Listen, if you've been catching up and you caught up on all the episodes, I appreciate you. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. Welcome. You here. I'm Mari. You know what I'm saying? Ask your aunt, you heard?
Damn.
We are joined by our first returning guest. I don't count producer Bethany as a guest. This is y'all know what this is. Like this is y'all know what's up when we get together. But Mickey Factz is in the building once again, man. Shout out to Mickey, man.
Smicky.
Appreciate you for joining once again, man. Welcome back, my brother. How you
Yes,
doing?
sir. I'm good, man. I'm alive. I'm breathing, baby. You know.
Beautiful thing, man. Beautiful thing. Then we got my dog in the building, my man Kenny at Kenny Spence NBA on Twitter. Has a very dope basketball podcast out right now called Playoff Foul. Shout out to him. Shout out to you and your platform, my brother. Somebody I've been knowing for a long time. We've been talking back and forth like, oh, we gotta record. So what better episode to do than the Kendrick versus Drake? Because that's what we here to talk about. So Kenny, thanks for joining me today, my brother. How you doing?
First of all, thanks for having me, man. This feels like an
Absolutely.
opportunity because one, we were supposed to do something for years now. It just never happened till now. And I'm talking about basketball all the time, but I like music just as much. So,
Yeah.
like you said, it's perfect opportunity, man. I'm glad to
Perfect
be here.
opportunity. So we gonna talk. We gonna talk. We gonna do the whole, the Kendrick versus Drake. And we're not going back to 2012, 2013, none of that. We want to start at first person shooter, which was October 6th, 2023. So now you guys are wherever you are and you heard first person shooter for the first time. Tell me your immediate reaction when you first heard the song. We can start with Mickey. Tell me where, like, if you can remember where you were, how you was feeling, whatever. Let me know what your initial reaction was when you heard first person shooter.
I was in the airport. I was in New York airport coming back to Atlanta, and Drake had just released his album, and I saw that he had a record with Cole. So that was obviously the first record that I was going to go directly to. Listen to it, really like Drake's verse, and then Cole gets on, and the Muhammad Ali bar kind of stood out to me the most. You know, I was also shocked when he said, he kind of acknowledged him, Kendrick, and Drake were the big three. I was like, okay, he's acknowledging this on a song with Drake. Oh, okay. And I just kind of was like, all right. And then the next line was like, but I'm Muhammad Ali. And I was like, okay, I bet, And I think earlier in the song, I think he was going at somebody. He was going at somebody. I forgot who he was going at. He was going at somebody saying that, somebody wanted to start trouble with him or something like that. But then, I just was like, okay, this is a good record. I enjoyed the beat. I hated the beat change. I wanted Drake to rap on it again. But, I thought Cole did great. You know, he was asserting his dominance in the feature space, so I enjoyed it.
Kenny, how you felt about it the first time you heard that?
Honestly, I didn't even read into it because I was still recovering from the Cole verse from the Yachty song, to where like Cole had just been on this run for like past couple years where he'll just get on any feature and just destroy it. And so I just ran his verse back over and over. I wasn't even thinking about Drake at the time. I wasn't thinking about the beef. It did actually pop up in my mind, like it would be real cool if Kendrick was on here because he mentioned the big three. I forgot all about Kendrick and Drake beef throughout the years. I was just like, man, it'd be cool as hell. So I didn't know Drake reached out for him to be on there. But I was just thinking, man, Cole can't be stopped right now. And then we'll get to it later, but you know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think for me, when I heard, like you said, just like you said, Mickey, I went right to that song because I said, okay, shit, you got Cole on here, cool. Let me see what's going on. Um, I think the part that you're referring to was when he said, you know, he was talking about beefing with NBA YoungBoy, but he was like, look, I still want to give me a song with YB. Don't listen, you know what I mean? Don't listen to the shit online. Basically, like, you know, trust me, if I dish you, you're gonna know it, and all of that. So it's like, okay, cool. He talking heavy on this. All right, cool. I did enjoy the song. I liked you know, Drake talking about, you know, niggas asking when it's gonna be repeated. I'm one away from Michael, nigga, beat it. Like I like that. Like I like the catchy shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like joints like that. So I did enjoy the song for sure. Which I'll tell you right now, I don't go back and listen to it though. I don't. We could like Kenny said, we could talk about it later. We can get into that a little bit later, but I do not go back and listen to it at all. So again, if we going by the timeline, that was October 6th, 2023. We get to like that verse on the Future album, Future Metro Boomin album, March 22nd, right? I don't and looking back on it, didn't feel like it was that long. Like I didn't realize it was March when we got that. But it was a surprise verse because none of the features were revealed, which I'm kind of mad at Future for that too, because you had me listening to that song, that type shit song, and I thought it was Saucy Santana at the end of that. I still don't like, I didn't like that because that verse could have been done. I mean, that song could have been done without the help. I'm mad you tricked me into listening to it, but I listened to that song multiple times. I didn't like that. Still don't like it. But we ain't here to talk about that. That's another topic for another podcast. But we get to like that verse, right? Shit. This is the verse that's like kicking this shit off. Like, all right, but I'm gonna be direct with niggas. Like, this is what's going on. So, you know, so let me go back to you right quick, Kenny. When you heard that, I know you're a Kendrick fan. I know you love Kendrick. When you heard that verse, tell me what's the first thing that crossed your mind?
Oh, he finally kicking the door down because they've been subbing each other for years. And so now he's actually kind of going directly at him with the for all the dogs verse for the with the mentioning the big three line, just finally actually doing it after this decade long. And just in general, like you said, I'm a big Kendrick fan, but I didn't like his last album. And so to hear him with that aggression on a song again was also real cool. But I did also feel like Drake should probably just not say anything. And we'll get into it again, like we'll get into it later. But I just felt like this isn't really Drake's realm. Y'all know he did the Meek thing and he killed Meek, but it's not really Meek's thing either. I know he battled, but Meek's a different artist. He was a different artist by that point. But I felt like it should have just got left alone after that. But hey.
Yeah, to each his own, right? And so Mickey, with you being in that, you know, somebody who's highly revered, we just talked about this before we started recording. Your presence in battle rap is like, you have some all time great performances in battle rap. I'm not just saying that because you're right here, but it's a fact. So when you heard that, I'm pretty sure you can appreciate like the elements that Kendrick put into that verse, because that's what I was saying about it when it dropped, was that like it was kind of disrespectful to Kendrick, to be honest. Like, people was going so crazy about the verse because I was like, yo, bro, this sound like if Kendrick was in battle rap. Like, it sounded like a battle rap verse. Like, did y'all not know he can rap? Like, this is not the craziest verse he's ever rapped in his life. Like, so I wasn't going crazy about it. And I said this on episode 30, I think. I wasn't going crazy about it. I was just like, okay, yeah, like I like that. How did you feel about it?
When I first heard this verse, I was shocked hearing the big three line. A lot of the bars, to me, when I first heard it, it didn't really hit hard for me. And I remember listening to the record over and over and liking Future's verse more. I thought Future's verse to me, and this is just to me, it kind of fit the record at the time. You know what I'm saying? Future was he was at least for the type of record it was. 20-carat ring, put my fingers down the throat, like shit like that.
Hey, listen.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if I lose a carat, she might choke is crazy.
But I know she gonna swallow. She the GOAT. Yeah, no, don't get me
That
started on that verse. Don't get me started on that verse.
I
Bro.
thought that was really crazy, right? And then, you know, obviously, after kind of getting out of the Future bag, because you know, I was imagining myself in the club like saying that shit. And then once I kind of got out of that bag, I started to listen to Kendrick's verse, and I was like, okay, all right, this is. But my initial thought was, this is your moment, J. Cole. This is your moment.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't. I wasn't in a praise Kendrick mode. I was in a Cole. This is your moment. What are you gonna do?
100%.
Because I knew at that time, I knew Kendrick. You know, he was ready to pop. I'm ready. Kendrick ready to pop. So I'm like, okay, you ready to pop? Drake be always ready to pop. Cool, but I want to see what Cole gonna do. This is gonna be like a death match. And then obviously, you know, we're gonna get to it. But yeah, we're gonna get to it. You know, but you know, at first when I first heard it, the big three line caught me off guard. Then I started loving Future's verse. Then I circled back and I was like, oh, this is dark skin energy. This is heavy dark skin.
Yeah.
You know, Draymond, black Air Force time. Okay. All right, let's see what the response is gonna be. Because it wasn't really like soul scorching. He did that later. So I was like, this is like a setup. What we doing now? And my first attention was to Cole.
Yeah, and this wasn't on the rundown because like dog, it pissed me off so bad. Bethany, you know, we had a conversation about this. J. Cole dropping the project, which I still have not heard in its entirety, and I'm gonna tell you why, because I went to the disc record and you know I listened to it and I was like, okay, that's all right. You jumping in the arena, okay, cool. It was a little love tap, I get it. But then as soon as he apologized, I have not listened to that project since then. I haven't. I'm not one of those people that's saying, "Oh man, this battle got so ugly. We owe J. Cole in the pot." No, we don't. No, we don't. I still feel the same way I felt the day that the shit happened. If you are not in this rap shit to talk about, like you talking about people gonna feel the wrath of the Reaper. You know what the Reaper is. You know what he is. You know what he represents. And you backed out of this shit. I'm not one of those people. So I'm off of that. But J. Cole dropping that song and then deleting it on a project called I might delete later is another thing. But
wow.
He
Wow.
so him doing that kind of was like, okay, cool. You are now out of the conversation. Am I alone in thinking that right there was the start of him being like out of this big three conversation? Because remember, he was the one that said the big three line. Drake did not acknowledge that at all on first person shooter. It was J. Cole saying we the big three, like, and he kept saying the names, and Drake was just like, yeah, but anyway, back to this. But so was I alone in thinking that was kind of his one foot out the door of the big three shit?
Yes.
No, I think he definitely bowed out of it. Maybe not intentionally, but the competitive energy of it is gone now because you've been saying for years that nobody wanted to see you as far as this rap shit goes and nobody could fuck with you. And then as soon as some competition came up, now you back out of it. And I do want, because supposedly Schoolboy Q talked to him before he wouldn't apologize, and Kendrick talked to him, and he knew where it was going to go. But they could have kept it rap. Drake had every opportunity to just keep it rap. And so I think he probably apologized too prematurely. I'm not going, well, I don't listen to J. Cole a whole lot anyway, but I'm not going to stop listening to his old stuff. But just the y'all can't fuck with me lines just ain't going to hit the same no more. But if he come out with some more like introspective J. Cole stuff, I'll still play it.
Yeah.
But that big three stuff is out. No, that's done.
Yeah. Yeah, because even as this battle kind of went on, I didn't think that if J. Cole had stayed in it, I didn't think he could have dropped a record that would have made the world care as much as Drake and Kendrick. Because like people were literally like, nah, I was about to go to sleep. I'm up now.
Mhm.
Who just dropped again? Like I'm doing it. I don't know if anybody would have did that because they probably been like, nah, I'll listen to it tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Like it's it is what it is. But
Mhm.
so now we get to the next song, right? We get to Push Ups, which was I think it was released on the 19th. It was like officially released on the 19th. It's kind of fishy because there was one version that was out a couple days, and then like Drake finally put his name on it and he put it out. I think it was April the 19th, right? So we get Push Ups now. What is your initial reaction to that one, Mickey? When you hear Push Ups and you like, okay, shit, all right, Drake is out here. He putting his name on this shit. Ain't no, we not playing the games. We here now.
Well, I'm a Twitter gang. Bethany know I'm Twitter gang. So it leaked first on Twitter. And everybody at the time, people was making fake AI Drake records and fake Kendrick records. I was like one of the first to say, hey, this is actually real. And nobody believed me until the actual record came out and everybody had to apologize. Let me tell you something. I bookmarked everybody and I went back and unbookmarked after I told them to apologize and everybody apologized. I thought Push Ups was good. I haven't heard it in a very long time though. It might be the least played record out of everything that he's dropped. I enjoyed it. I think I was initially shocked when I first heard it, but after a while, I was like, okay, this is. I don't know if this is enough. I was like, I don't know if this is enough, but I like it. Okay, this is a good warm up.
Right.
Cool.
Right.
And then I just kind of let it go after that. You know what I mean?
Okay. And Kenny, same question
Mhm.
for you. When you heard Push Ups, what were you thinking?
So that was the start of what ended up being a theme throughout it, which was Drake kind of insulting the audience intelligence in a sense. As far as because the whole thing was talking about Kendrick splits and all this stuff, and I think he also underestimated how big of an artist Kendrick is. So we know Kendrick's not on a label anymore. Like he has distribution through Interscope, but he's not on a label. So the whole you doing splits with Top and this person, that person, but then you think about well, Drake has a label. He has artists who are signed to him. He's signed to Wayne. Wayne signed to Birdman. Birdman has everyone signed to Universal. So that didn't really hit me because I knew that. Um, then he had like the Whitney line, which I didn't take it to be Kendrick's wife, but it actually was. But that ended up like it was a lot of stuff that ended up not being true. But the main thing was just like the whole thing, and then like he had the Taylor Swift line, but like you made Tootsie slide, so you can't really go with the pop thing. You're a pop star, and it just kind of like it was a disconnect that ended up getting pointed out later and just kind of killed them in the long run over and over. But it was from the beginning. It was a catchy song. It was a good song, but I think what he misunderstood was that when it comes to diss records, people look into the lyrics. He misunderstood that throughout the whole thing, but starting with it, people look into the lyrics and like if they don't find anything in it, then it's just not going to hit as much. But it was a good song overall. If you took the context out of it and just dropped it the way it was, I play it all the time.
Yeah. I'll tell you that in the moment hearing that Who Kid drop on it did a lot for me because like that era
Nostalgia.
of hearing Who Kid on a song, and
Mm-hmm.
if you know who Kid is tied to directly, you know what I'm saying? You hear those 50 Cent, those G Unit diss records, those diss mixtapes.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, oh shit, he's about to go for it. We might get a whole mixtape from him because he's with Who Kid. Like that's it's a no brainer. It's a gimme. Um, then when you think about it, at the end of Push Ups, everybody was waiting on what we now know is Family Matters because we heard the drop, that part, and
Mm-hmm.
people took that to mean that he was daring Kendrick to drop, but it was a part of the song, right? Could have been both.
Mm-hmm.
Could have been both. But I think that was Drake's first mistake, if I'm being honest. Because if you had Family Matters, and I know obviously he had to tweak it after Kendrick said something, and he probably had to go in there and add something to take something out or whatever. That's cool. But if you had Family Matters already done, the framework of it done, and you didn't drop that first, that's a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Because Kendrick lets you know that I'm outside, I'm ready to dance. Come outside, let's finally make this happen. You don't keep a bomb in the tuck and wait for him to bomb back. Like that's just not the way that a battle is supposed to work or like a diss record is supposed to work. Do you think that Styles P would have left a bomb sitting in the house and came outside with just his hit. No, I'm bringing everything with me outside as soon as you tell me it's war. So I think that was his first mistake. I don't want to shit on push-ups because I do like it. I just think that when you go back and listen to it, you're like, damn, man, you had Family Matters in the tuck and you gave us that. It's a mistake. I think it was a mistake. And so now if I'm following the timeline correctly, I think we got the Taylor Made freestyle the same day, the same night that it was like officially put out, that Push-Ups was officially put out, which is the 19th. I thought that was cool. I thought it was funny given, the talk of AI during the week. I thought that history would be a little bit more kind to it as we got further away from it, because like people would ask about it. And it's like, well, why did he go with the AI voices? Oh, because people were saying it was AI this and AI that. So I understood that, right? And so his last verse on there, I actually liked a lot. Without the voices and all that shit, he did some rapping on there. But how did y'all feel about that? How did y'all feel about the Taylor Made freestyle?
You go first, Kenny.
Yeah, really, he was doing some rapping all throughout it. I ain't gonna lie. I didn't like the AI thing personally. I didn't even realize the explanation you gave, so that takes less of my cringing. That takes a little bit of my cringing away from it. But he was doing some rapping, but he underestimated his opponent. This ain't somebody you play around with like that. And like you daring him to drop. And I think we know Kendrick doesn't really drop records. So I think he was reading too much of the Kendrick ain't dropped since this, whatever, and just assumed that would stay the same. But he just completely underestimated his opponent. Like you said, you bring that bomb out right away, regardless. But we're talking about Kendrick Lamar. Like you need to go at his neck immediately. Don't like do all this playing around with the bullshit. And then like daring him in the Tupac voice, like I don't think he realized how much that would backfire on him. I do not think he realized how much that would backfire on him. But it's this whole thing is him just putting himself in a bad situation. Because Kendrick would have responded to Push-Ups and it would have been cool, but like to do the Tupac thing for real, all right. I bet Kendrick was like, because apparently like Kendrick has a lot more recorded, just sitting there, and it's just not gonna come out now probably. But he just played around with the wrong person, especially coming off the Pusha T thing. Like he should have definitely took this serious because we haven't seen him since that in this type of situation, and so he came out with some. He should have been a little more serious, a little more early.
Yeah.
I kind of enjoyed Taylor Made. I thought it was. I don't want to say it was clever, Kenny. I just want to say it was quick. It was like, okay. He dropped again before Kendrick dropped. When is Kendrick gonna drop? When is he gonna drop?
Right. On the clock, yeah.
Seeing Snoop's reaction to it, then seeing Tupac, Estate's reaction to it. And then, like Kenny said, the third verse was really good, but he was poking a bear, not knowing he was poking a bear. Man. And I like what Kenny said about him not dropping the nuke. You drop the nuke first.
Yeah.
Or at least something very heavy first.
Yeah.
And Push-Ups, he was dissing Kendrick, but he was also dissing Metro. Shut the fuck up and Bigs Up Drums, nigga. He was dissing Rick Ross, right?
Ross, yeah.
He was dissing The Weeknd. Mm-hmm. So like he was kind of shooting at everybody. It wasn't he didn't really have a record that just went directly at Kendrick. He gave like 50% of the record to Kendrick, but
to everybody else, yeah. He linked into the 20v1 thing. Like I think too much. I think which was another mistake.
That was
he
a big
linked
mistake.
into that angle. But let me say this real quick because this wasn't on the rundown. I know that a lot of like things are getting exposed and it's a lot of mudslinging and whatever. But one of the nastiest things to come from this battle is people acting like Rick Ross is not an elite rapper, and I don't like it because as soon as Rick Ross got involved, everybody started bringing their opinions out about Rick Ross. Say what you want about Ross. You don't have to love him. You don't have to like him. You don't have to listen to him. But the one thing you cannot say about him is that this man is a bad rapper. We are not going to do that, bro. I don't give a fuck about none of this other shit.
Ross is great at rapping. I just feel like he should have. A lot of people feel the best part of his song was talking at the end.
He should have put it. Yeah, and listen, and I can attest to that. That in my group chat, we said that he should have found the way to incorporate what he was saying at the end into the verse, more into the first verse specifically, because he didn't really get to Drake until like the second verse.
Right.
But he had one of my favorite lines of the whole shit when he said, like his moves, though he never had a fight in school, always ran. Another nigga had to write your grooves. Ross is the only person on the planet that's gonna use the word grooves instead of songs. And like I promise you, it's just him, and I love him for that because he's hilarious. But yeah, I do agree with that for sure. I do think that what he was saying at the end when he was talking, he should have found a way to work that into the verse. That could have been the first verse, and
White
the
boy.
second verse could have stayed the same. Yeah, that would have been good.
White
That would
boy.
have been good. But yeah, I don't like that people try to turn this into some, who is Rick Ross and what is he like? Let's not
That's
play that game.
that's ridiculous.
Look,
Please.
can't even forget. I'm born and raised in Miami.
Yeah,
My grandma's
yeah.
house in Carroll City. Like I remember Rick Ross just being one of those album coming out soon people inside the Folds and Trick Daddy album. So like you can't tell me nothing about Rick Ross. I will say
Facts.
with his song itself, he definitely didn't knock Drake out, but he did cut him. Like with the white boy thing, and like I guess Kendrick took that angle and really expounded on him.
Absolutely.
He cut him, and I know we're gonna get into it, but I
Yeah.
came out as looking at Drake a little different. But
Yeah,
I
me
think
too.
a lot
I
of people
remember
did.
because I remember when Drake first came out, it was like Jimmy from Degrassi. Well,
Yeah.
this song sound good, fuck it, and we kind of like left it alone.
Yeah,
But
that's true. That's true.
years later, you start to see like,
The cracks.
Yeah.
and you know what, we're gonna get to it later, but all this stuff like started to come back to the forefront for me.
Yeah, nah, for sure. So which leads us to the next song. Like I said, April 19th was Push Ups officially dropping. It was a tailor-made freestyle coming out. We got Euphoria on April the 30th, right? So a little bit over like a week and a half later. Man, I wasn't crazy about. I'll say when I first heard it, I'm hearing it, and he did the thing that I don't like a lot of times, and he did the funny voices, and I saw somebody on Instagram put up they said that Kendrick turned into a wicked witch when he was like pushing P, pushing T, like all of that, and I thought that was hilarious because when he did it, I was just like, oh man, like Kenny, come on, man, I wanna listen to this song for what it is, but you're doing the shit that I don't like again. But going back and listening to it, I can definitely appreciate it way more now than I did, like when it first dropped. But Kenny, I wanna start with you on this one. You hear this and you like, okay, this is different than like that. This is way different than like that. What was your thoughts on that?
There was a lot of focus. I think y'all mentioned Drake focusing on the 20v1 thing. Kendrick ain't mention anybody else. He didn't mention anybody being on his side. He just went straight at Drake. The sexy red line, but that goes with the theme too because Drake has been running around with Sexy Red, dressed like Smino, who's also from St. Louis.
Right.
So that's part of that theme that's been, and it's just like, I think I knew hearing it that wasn't the strongest Kendrick could be, but I definitely liked it still. So, and I listened to it again today. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I listened to it again earlier too. Yeah.
It wasn't as much of a knockout as I thought it was at the time, obviously, because he put out more stuff that was more of a knockout. But I could say I enjoyed it. I could say he won that round for sure. Just from Drake kind of like talking about himself in a sense and Push Up as far as like the splits and all that stuff, and then talking, and then the AI thing I didn't like. So Kendrick won that round. I could say that. I wouldn't. This is not something we're gonna talk about from years from now, but I would say he won that round.
Yeah, I think also what hurt Drake too was a lot of people were saying that Push Ups was AI when it first dropped, and then when he officially put it out, he still had the "your pants might rip" line in it, and people was like, "Oh shit." I thought that was AI, man. I thought somebody else wrote that. You really said that?
And Drake had already started messing himself up too before Kendrick responded, because if you remember, the Kendrick AI song came out and Drake and the was like, "Hey, no, that's real. That's really Kendrick." And it's like, Then the guy came out and said, "No, this was me. This is how I did it." And then the article comes out like, "Oh, real people spoke to that guy before they even said that."
Right.
It's like,
right.
Then we start seeing Drake as the liar, and then it's like what these people are saying tends to just be more true than stuff Drake is saying. I'm not gonna say everything they said was right, but
right.
You start to be able to differentiate between who you should probably believe versus who you definitely shouldn't.
Got you. Yeah, and so Mickey, same thing to you. We get Euphoria after to like that verse and everything like that. So now Kendrick is outside when you hear like that, but then when you hear Euphoria, what are you thinking now?
I'm like, he finally did it. He finally did it. He's saying names. He's being direct. He's saying I hate you. He it was I think it was a record again that was better. It was definitely better than Push Ups. It was definitely better than Tailor Made. You could tell that they was a little annoyed over at OVO. And they had to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? They had to deal with, Kendrick kind of coming back. With him coming back, there's a lot to deal with. It's not just good music. Now you got people like me breaking it down.
Yeah.
You got people like me, finding the layers.
Listen.
And
that's been one of my favorite parts too. Not to cut you off, one of my favorite parts of this whole battle was how quick you were with the breakdowns, because as the songs were dropping, you see Mickey Factz on the timeline saying, "Hey, wait a minute, guys, I'm about to break this down in like 30 minutes, so come fuck with me over here." And it's like, goddamn, Mick, like, let me listen to it first. Let me see what's going on first. You got the whole breakdown, but to your point though, you see that his shit is layered. Like the name of the song. He played on that like the rest of the battle and everything. And it's like, man, when you look back at this, you should have knew when he dropped that song that it's like, wait a minute. Yeah, this guy might know something. This guy he might know something. Yeah. That's like I said, that song is tough. I like it I like it more now than I liked it when it first dropped. But then now let's get to what I think was my favorite moment in the battle was 616 in LA. I got really hype about that song because I'll tell you where I was when I heard the song. I was on my way back home. This was May 3rd, by the way. Euphoria was April 30th. This was May 3rd, 616 in LA. I was on my way back home from Trader Joe's. Now, Trader Joe's had one of my favorite things back on the menu again. It's a seasonal item. It's the jalapeno limeade. They had it back in stock. I got 2 of them. I was happy. I was having a beautiful day, man. I'm talking about beautiful day. And I saw a link to a Kendrick song, and I said, "What the fuck is this?" And I played it in the car on the way back home, and I sat in silence when it went off because I was like, "What the fuck just happened?" Like, this is a very soulful song, and he talking crazy on this. Like, I haven't heard Kendrick drop this much in a very long time, which Drake was right about. If we're gonna give Drake any credit about being right about anything, he said, "Hey man, your fans can go ahead and thank me because I motivated you to drop some music," and you damn sure did, Aubrey. You damn sure did. Because we got 616 in LA. And shout out to the good brother Dragonfly Jones. I text Tyler and I said, "Yo, dog, this 616 shit is," and we was just geeking out about that. So that's where I was. Where were you guys when you heard that song?
I heard it in the morning. I was about to go into work, and you said your favorite producer's Alchemist. My favorite producer since I was like 12 years old up till today is Ninth Wonder. So I hear a soul sample. You got me. So I ain't even care about what Kendrick said the first few times I listened to it. I was into the beat, but then the stuff about the OVO mode that got interesting to me because you can definitely see how some and it, like because initially when the Future albums came out, I'm the type of person to where like if I see a lot of people quote unquote turn on you at one time, I think you did something. And so the OVO mode thing, I believed it off rip just because there's patterns, man. People show you patterns. And then you think about not even just all these people. You think about how the fuck you beef with Common. Like you've dissed women over time. Meg got back at you this year. You've said shit about Serena. You said shit about like somebody beefing with all these people is not a victim. And so having an OVO mode just didn't surprise me at all, or I didn't question it at all. I don't know if anything Kendrick said really moved me. Like I said, the beat did more than anything, but I felt like Drake once again should have left it alone right there, because obviously Kendrick knew something that he didn't.
I was home because it was Friday. You know what I'm saying? And typically I take my son to therapy on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And so Friday, I'm just chilling in the crib with my man. So I'm listening. I'm shocked, but I'm kind of not shocked because, I'm guess in my mind, I'm thinking that he's responding to TaylorMade. He's responding to push-ups and TaylorMade. So I'm like, okay, he's dropping 2 because he dropped 2. Bet, okay, this is dope. It's early in the morning. I get on live again. As soon as I hear it, I'll start breaking certain things down. He's rapping much better in terms of his syllable count. He starts talking about he got a mole. Somebody's working for him. And then, Weekend said that, on the track previously, on the Future record. So I'm like, okay, this is better than TaylorMade. So he's meeting him. He's in rebuttal mode. So everything he's dropping right now is better than what Drake is dropping. Yeah, I feel like Euphoria is better than Push-Ups, and I felt like this joint was better than TaylorMade. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, so Kendrick is up. In my mind, I'm like, Kendrick is up. Now it's on Drake to drop, right? So I'm like, I thought the record was good. I didn't think it wasn't a heavy haymaker yet. There wasn't no haymaker hit so far.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, it is what it is.
Yeah. I think with Kendrick being so cerebral, I read into it a little bit more maybe than most people because, again, like you said, it wasn't a heavy haymaker, but coming from him, I was like, oh, yeah, no, this is different. This is different. He's on a mission. And let me say this real quick. If somebody is asking you to play Have You Ever and it's not the Brandy song, you should probably think about your next step. Because if somebody keep asking you, if somebody pulled up and say, yo, Mickey, hold on. Say swear to God that you wasn't over there in and then tomorrow they see you and say, yo, Mick, I'm gonna ask you again now. Swear to God, you gonna start thinking and be like, well, goddamn, what was I doing? Like it just a little bit. Yeah. So I was kind of scared listening to that. I was like, oh, what we about to get, man? And then that day, May 3rd ended up being one of the most iconic days in fucking rap history because not only did we start our days off with 616 in LA, but there was rumors of Drake dropping before the night was over with. It didn't look like he was going to drop for a minute. And then we get Family Matters, which, now we go back to when we first started this conversation off. We get a preview of that at the end of Push-Ups, and we like, well, shit. If you had this bomb in the tuck, why you playing? Why you playing waiting until the fifth round to, you know what I'm saying, to pull this out or whatever. But we get that night. Let's talk about that first before we get to the other song that dropped because this is where shit changed. This is where everything changed. So Family Matters drops. I'll let you guys kick it off. We can start with you, Mickey.
Yeah.
Family Matters drops. It drops with the video, so we didn't have to wait for visuals or anything. It drops with a video. What do you think when Family Matters drops?
The first verse, I was like, okay. I was like, all right, this is. I'm still saying this is cute. This is cute. This is cute. This is cute. This can't be the nuke. This cannot be the nuke. Can't be, right? I'm enjoying it though, but I'm like, this ain't going to do it. And then that second beat came on. Oof. Oh my goodness. That second beat was incredible. And then as great as his second verse is, it is also the reason he lost this battle. Because he shot at everybody except for if he would have stayed on Kendrick for the entire record, this looks different. It doesn't look the same. But he decided he wanted to go at Metro. He gave Metro some heat. He gave ASAP Rocky some heat. He really went crazy on Ross. He was bugging on Ross.
Yeah.
And I was in shock. I was literally listening to it in shock online. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I was like, yo, this is crazy. At that point, I didn't even hear the third verse. because Meet the Grams had dropped. So in the midst of me, I stopped the third verse and go straight to Meet the Grams. I heard the third verse after Meet the Grams.
I think a lot of people did. I think a lot of people shared that same sentiment because the pure shock of him dropping when Drake is like, let's clear it out. I'm dropping. Here's the song that y'all been waiting for. Here it is. Here's my moment. And then like before you can even get moment out, it's like, here's another one.
And he snatched the moment very quickly.
Here's another one. So Kenny, before we get to Meet the Grams, when you heard Family Matters, you're sitting back, you've heard all the other records up to this point, like we talked about. What are you thinking when you hear Family Matters?
So my initial reaction was, "Damn, this is hard." You gotta say so. It's not a knockout, but it's a real hard body shot. But again, this is Drake underestimating his opponent and underestimating the audience.
Yeah.
When you put out a diss record, especially against somebody who's big for being a lyricist, there's gonna be a lot of people who dig into what you're saying.
Yeah.
And so I was tweeting like, "Hey, A$AP Rocky got it the worst. A$AP Rocky got killed," and he did on the surface. But then it's like Drake can't just brush Rihanna off as like I hit it first type thing. Like we saw that whole thing play out.
Yeah.
Like you can't do that.
And then, also Kenny, and not because I do want you to continue.
Mm-hmm.
Also, when I listen to diss records, and I've always been this way, I listen to them as if I'm that person, and I see how I would feel if he was talking about me.
Yeah.
If I'm A$AP Rocky and I'm listening to those bars, I'm like, okay, he's saying that the fans would rather see me model than make music, and I'm laying down with Rihanna at night. I'll take that.
Yeah, like
I'll take that. I'll take it.
If you drop some music, people won't like it. I got 2 kids with Rihanna.
Hey, listen. At worst, I'm gonna have to look myself in the mirror and say, "Yeah, Rock, them last couple albums ain't it, my boy." Yeah. But that's at the worst. But at the best, I'm a model that's making babies with Rihanna. I mean, shit, I'll take that.
Like, what you want me to be mad at? But yeah, like you dig into it, and then like he said stuff about Kendrick's wife. First, the abuse thing came from a Drake Stan account. Like I had seen that a couple days before. Like,
I saw you posting that stuff too. I saw you posting that he was making community notes raps, and that shit was hilarious to me because you were saying that all this shit was coming from like Stan accounts, and it was things that was like easily debunked.
Yeah, so like the abuse thing, and this is not here to say Kendrick's just
right.
Never do that. Right. I don't know, and I'm not going to discredit anybody who may or may not be a victim. But I saw the whole thing, like a Drake Stan account called @DrakesAttorney. Like they posted like a picture of Kendrick's wife with their kids cropped out, and he was like, she cut her hair this short because he's abusing her and whatever, and like the source was like Lipstick Attorney, Lipstick Alley or something like that. And they got community note, and then 2 days later, Drake put it in a song. It was like, all right, well, cool. And then like he said the Dave Free thing, but Drake also sent us to Kendrick's wife's Instagram, which is something I would never do anyway. But you said abuse, and you said she's like calling out for help on it. So I'm trying to see if like, because if Kendrick's really doing it, I can't fuck with Kendrick no more. It's like his music, like I can't get behind that. So I look at her Instagram, and it's like she had one post around the time Mr. Morale came out about like therapy, and he took that as like she's saying save me. And then like you see like the kids both look exactly like Kendrick, and like all the stuff just takes away from it. Yeah. And for me, like what was a hard ass song, and I think Pusha T set the tone for it too, because before like we didn't care like whether stuff was true or not before, but now you kind of have to have some validity behind it, especially if it's something serious. You have to have some kind of validity behind what you say. Because when Jay-Z and Nas was happening, when Styles P and Jadakiss and them against Beanie Siegel was happening, Google wasn't a big deal. Right. Like you couldn't just look this stuff up. And so you just kind of matched it up with their image or whatever.
You was going off of their merit too. You're going off the men that they are.
Like, if back in those days, like if I'm going to just use neighborhoods from where I'm from, because I don't really know neighborhoods anywhere else. Like, if I'm from Liberty City and you got knocked out in Carroll City, and somebody say you got knocked out in Carroll City, I can't say you didn't. I wasn't over there. So as far as I know, you got knocked out. But now, if you can just look it up and see it didn't happen, it takes away from it.
It's a little bit different. And then also, like you said, back then, I think it still mattered too, because like when you listen to Jay-Z when he was on Hot 97, and he was like, you know, when I say things, it sting a little bit more because they true, right? Like he was
Yeah.
saying that, like
Yeah.
these guys saying things about me that's like whatever, but when I say it, it's
Mhm.
true. There was still some validity like needed in those battles. Like even when Jadakiss said, "All it take is a gun and a bomb," but you got me on tape. Hard Knock Life tour, hugging your mom. We never seen the footage of that, but he's saying that footage exists, and we know that the
Yeah.
Hard Knock Life tour there's a DVD for. So who knows?
Mhm.
Maybe there is.
Yeah.
If that battle happened now, I think somebody probably would have dug up the footage and been like, "Oh yeah, he was telling the truth about that." So I think truth has always played a part in these battles. It's just that now we can check the truth in real time. We can pause your song and check the truth right now instead of waiting 3 or 4 years to be like, "Oh, he lied about that." Oh well, you know that battle's over with anyway. So whatever, you know what I'm saying?
And when you realize and you look into it and see all the stuff's not true about the stuff going on with Kendrick's family, and you go back and realize Kendrick said that would happen on Euphoria.
He said it. He said you fabricating stories on the family front because you heard Mr. Morale, and then Drake did that. Yeah, that was a stain. I'm not gonna lie to you. That was because Bethany and I, shout out to producer Bethany. Bethany and I talked about this album when it dropped. Because we're both very much like pro people going to therapy. I'm one of the people that like has yet to go to therapy, but I want to, I need to, like I have the passion to. Oh, what's up? Hey, listen, man. We are very much, we love the kids on this show. Mickey, I appreciate you for doing that. You just warmed my fucking heart, man. Thank you so much for this. You got the kids in the building. What's going on? Salute. But we talked about Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Like we broke this down like song for song, and we talked about what we took away from it. And Kenny, I saw you recently. You know, you just did like a re-listen to it. You know what I'm saying? Because I know you said that you wasn't crazy about it when it dropped, but you listened to it and you was like, "Yo, like this is."
Yeah, I was tripping.
You know what I mean? Like, his album is different. But I think that Kendrick is. That's the beauty and the genius of Kendrick Lamar, that he makes music that he understands that you may not be ready for this right now, but when you are ready, it's still here. When you come back to it, it'll be here for you. So, yeah, that was kind of like I said, another stain. You know what I'm saying? Like for Drake, like you talking about these stories that like you said I heard, and he said I heard that one of them little kids might be Dave Freeze, and it's like that's kind of. You saying I heard, man, like you can't, and I still love the song. Let's not get it twisted. Like I love Family Matters. Like that song is good. It probably had the most play in my car of any of the songs that dropped. But it's like, oh man, I wish you didn't say I heard. Damn it, like.
And that shit was not even the slaves line, because that's something like he just got from people making Kendrick jokes on Twitter, but. Now, like the white boy thing, obviously it was funny when Ross said it, but now we're kind of looking at you like the Jimmy from Degrassi thing is coming back up in our minds now.
Yeah.
And you start the song on like, "Nigga, I said I know that y'all mad." It's like,
yeah, why you do that? Yeah, but and you know what's crazy too though. I do think that both of them were being like purposely obtuse at certain points to each other's like what they were saying, which happens. We're men. It happens. It's people.
Yeah.
And I think one of those things that Kendrick took advantage of, which goes back to the battle rap element, and I know that Mickey can appreciate this. If you can take advantage of a narrative and exploit it, like right after somebody says it, you're gonna win the battle. Because like we are in the battle now. We don't care. Like when we get outside of this venue, we can talk about it. But in this battle, when he said, you see, he doubled down on the slave shit. And I know Kendrick knows that Drake was saying, you rapping like you trying to get the slaves free, but you're not really an activist. Like he was saying that. He wasn't saying, oh, you trying to free the slave. But Kendrick like, see, look, he said y'all a slave. And I can appreciate that. Because if it sound good, and you gave me the material, that's your fault.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use it against you every time. You know what I'm saying? But we got to get to it. We got to get to the absolute turning point of this battle, the point of no return, the point of like, holy shit, what just happened? Like, what? Wait, do I need to listen to that ever again in my life? And it's Meet the Grams. Meet the Grams dropped, I want to say 30 minutes, give or take, after Family Matters was out. Like I said, to the point where in my group chat, somebody said Kendrick dropped again, and I was like, well, damn, am I getting old messages? Like, this can't be like right now. This is tomorrow now. Like, what do you mean he dropped again? So let's talk about Meet the Grams, bro. Like, we got to talk about Meet the Grams, like, because,
Meet the Grams is, to me, is probably one of the greatest diss tracks ever. I think I personally loved Mr. Morale.
Okay.
I thought it was incredible,
Okay.
right? And I know
When you talk about diss records, before you even get to that though, your criteria for diss records, um, what about Meet the Grams? Puts it up there for for one of the greatest diss records of all times for you.
I think the speed of when it dropped. I think it goes back to what I was saying about Mr. Morale. It felt like an extension. It felt like a bonus track off the Mr. Morale project because that
Mm,
project was full of introspection, full of therapy. Like if you're not somebody that's really looking within yourself, you're not gonna like the project.
right.
You're gonna think it's whack, right? So this felt like somebody who did the work on himself, and then he's looking at this person like, hey, bruh, there's some things that you gotta fix, but before we
Mm.
fix you, let's fix your son. Let's fix your mother. Let's
Oh my
fix your
God, my
father.
nigga. Shit.
Now the daughter thing was, allegedly Drake, set it all up, and he had a mole for the daughter, right? And he took the bait.
Hmm.
Um, cool, that's fine.
Hmm.
Um, Drake was supposed to then have a response saying that immediately. He should have had something lined up immediately. He shouldn't have said anything. Um, he went straight to IG. It's like the one thing I loved about Kendrick, he didn't say a word. He didn't say nothing on Instagram. He didn't say nothing on Twitter. He didn't
Hmm.
say nothing on. He didn't drop any stories. He let his peoples do the talking.
I
He
heard
didn't.
Drake saying the daughter shit in the same voice as homie from Baby Boy. He's like, a daughter, like $40.
Yeah, but I like that was his time to respond in music form,
Hmm.
and not just go with these theories and like comments. Like he was moving scorned. That's my man. I love that. Drake's my guy, but he was moving a little scorned, right? And I thought that the record was fantastic.
Yeah,
It was fantastic. It was
it was.
scathing, and it just took all of the power out of Family Matters. It removed everything from Family Matters. I was in shock listening to it.
Yeah,
I watched my reaction when I listened to it the first time. I couldn't believe what I was hearing.
yeah, yeah.
It was powerful.
I
That was
think
a
I think I
powerful
remember your
record.
tweets from around that time too, and I was like, oh yeah, shit, this the one that did it.
This is a
It's the one that
powerful
did it
record.
right here.
It's a powerful record.
Yeah. And so Kenny, I know that at that same time, right? Like you didn't heard Family Matters, and now
Mhm.
you're probably going through like, wait a minute, hold on. Kendrick dropped. Not only did he drop again, but he dropped this.
Mhm.
This is what he gave us. So what you thinking when you hearing that?
Um, so my main thing was, and really I picked up on this like after I listened to Miss Morale again because I had known it, but I really realized it when I listened to it again. I think it was 2 days ago. Drake chose the wrong person to do this with because Kendrick tore himself down so much in Mr. Morale. There's nothing uh, Drake could really say that Kendrick hasn't already said about himself.
Hmm.
And then Kendrick just goes into the thing with Adonis immediately, and whether Drake's and we see Drake with Adonis and stuff like that, so we can't say he's not active or he is, or we don't know that every day. But to bring that back up after daring him to go back at Pusha T, that's tough already. And the daughter thing, whether true or not, just playing more into the deadbeat thing to where even if to this day, all we have is an alleged deadbeat saying he doesn't have a kid,
Right.
which I'm not saying he does or doesn't, but it's like that's still like a nice little play because that's something Drake can't win unless he brings out a daughter.
Yeah. Because we still wonder, like, is it true?
Mhm.
Like,
And
maybe.
and the stuff Kendrick said to Drake's dad about him, and I didn't realize. So Drake's dad supposedly has dementia or something like that, And so that was a real low blow. And he was like, for more paper and more paper and like
Yeah,
that was kind of a low blow. I didn't catch that at first,
and
but
more paper.
yeah.
Yeah,
And the stuff he said about him and like parading him around, which we haven't really seen Drake do since Pusha T brought it up.
yeah.
And that
Steve
tying
Harvey suit
into
nigga. Y'all gonna make me go listen to Pusha T shit again too, man.
and that tying into Drake kind of leaning more into his black side than what his reality was growing up with his mom in Toronto and all this stuff. And so that was a low blow, but man, the real thing was the allegations. Because for me personally, Drake did a lot of stuff over the years I just thought was weird, right? I just thought it was weird and I left it at that because I don't pay attention to anybody outside of their music really. So he'd pop up with a girl who just turned 18, like they're dating now, quote unquote. I'd be like, all right, that's weird. How long has he known that girl? And then we'll leave it alone, right? The Millie Bobby Brown, like, yo, I don't have kids, but if I had a 13-year-old daughter and a 31-year-old man was texting her, I miss you, I don't give a fuck what the circumstances is. He got to see me.
Yeah. Yeah,
like
nah,
it's no way around that. So I thought that was weird.
We pulling up with Chris Hansen.
Yeah. I had never in my life seen that video of him with the 17-year-old girl on stage until this popped up.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And that's enough for me.
Yeah.
I don't need like people still saying, you need proof of this, proof of that. Like, that's enough. You only get one time with me for some shit like that. The girl told you she was 17. Nah, I'm cool.
Fam. Listen, I'm gonna tell you this, right? Because my reaction to Meet the Grams was probably a lot different than a lot of people listening to this. I have kids. More importantly, I have a son. My son is my youngest, and the first words of that song were, "Dear Adonis, I'm sorry that man is your father." Just being honest, I didn't need to really hear any more,
right?
Because with Jadakiss said, I look at my son different, like. I was like, I'm in here with my kids, bro. I'm with my family. And I'm looking at my son and I'm like, imagine if somebody got on Beyonce's internet and said, I'm sorry that man is your father. I'm just being honest. And you called him by name. The first two words in the song is dear him. I was just like, dog, I can't wrap my mind around if somebody said this to my kids, bro. So again, I told y'all that when I listen to diss records, I listen to it. What if this was about me? How would I feel? I didn't need to hear any more after that. So the fact that I told my wife, I said, dog, there would have been no more rap battles. Sorry, guys. I know y'all pulled up for raps. Something is going to happen to this guy now. We are not rapping anymore. I'm sorry. We about to ruin hip hop. Sorry. But I heard that part, and then I heard him talking to his pops, and then he set his mom down. He talked to his pops at the front door. Then he went inside and set his mom down and said, listen, Sandra, I'm going to say some stuff you might not want to hear, but listen, this is just what it is. And then he talked to him at the end, like on the way out the house. He like, yo, Aubrey, come talk to me in the front lawn real quick, bro. Like, listen to me, man. This is what it is. That was tough, bro. Like, that song is tough. And again, Alchemist being on the production made it 100 times better for me because Alchemist is my favorite producer ever. That beat sounded like something that if Jigsaw would rap on that. You know what I'm saying? Like anybody who you think of that you fuck with, that's a villain, Magneto, whoever, they would have rapped on that. Think of any villain and tell me they wouldn't have sounded good on that beat. They would have. Because that was, man, Kendrick did some shit on that song that was just like, damn, bro, this is tough.
The talking to him, the you lied part, like the you lied about, and it's like stuff he really fucking lied about. Like he brought up, and it's like, man,
it's bad, man. It's bad. That song is to the point where like I listened to it earlier because obviously I knew we was gonna talk about this, so I wanted the song to be fresh into my head, and I was just like, what did I get myself into? Why did I listen to this again? I was having a beautiful day. It's Mother's Day. Shout out to all the beautiful mothers out there. Happy Mother's Day to all of you beautiful women. Your light and your love are very needed and appreciated. Very much. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, I was just out running around, man, and I listened to that song and I was just like, damn, we back here again, huh? Like, yeah, but it's real though. But you need to hear a song like that because you need to know this is what it is. And again, we talked about this before. Drake made a mistake playing around with his opponent because you
Mhm.
don't do this, bro. You do not keep a nuke in his stash. I listen to old Locks and Styles P and all that kind of shit daily. Styles
Mhm.
P, bro, he said, yo, you better bite before you bark. He said that. You better bite before you bark. You don't, and and playing on like all the dog shit, like, bro,
Mhm.
you don't bark at Kendrick. You
Right.
go right for the jugular, bro. You have to. Because he got
Mhm.
shit like this in the tuck. He's one of the best storytellers we've ever seen in rap. I think it's
Mhm.
safe to say that. Like, he's one
Yeah.
of the best, if not the best. If you want to say he's the best, I won't fight you on that. I
Him,
won't.
Ghostface.
Him, Ghostface,
Yeah.
Nas,
Yeah.
just real quick, short list of
Mhm.
storytellers in rap. Um, you know, you can't play with somebody like that. And Kendrick
Mhm.
let us know that when he turned right around and gave us Not Like Us the next day.
Man.
We got Not Like Us. Like, think about the timeline. Like, I put the dates next to these songs because I really had to see in real time because it felt like everything happened in 2 days.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? But he gave us Not Like Us the next day, and I will let me be fully transparent here. I'm not a super deep cut West Coast music guy, so when I heard the beat, I was like, okay, like what we doing here? I thought E40 was about to rap, or you know what I'm saying? I didn't know what was going on. Shout out to E40. But I'm more of like the Dom Kennedy, Nate Dogg,
Mhm.
Warren G, DJ Quick. I'm more of the upfront, cool, smooth, smoke a joint, that
Mhm.
type of music. This took a second to grow on me, and I was like, wait a minute, this is a fucking hit record. Like, holy
Mhm.
shit. He talked about this and he said, back to back, I like that record. I'm gonna get back to
Mhm.
that. And I think this was him getting back to back because it's like, goddamn, bro, you just dropped back to back and you made a hit out of it. Like, you got everybody dancing to this shit. So you could see the impact it was gonna have regionally right there in Kendrick's backyard. But now this shit is spread around the world. Like,
Yeah.
what can you do with that? Like,
Mhm.
what can you do with a song like that?
I'm gonna go first. Um, I didn't go to sleep when he dropped Meet the Grams. I went to bed at 5 a.m. I went to bed at 5 a.m. and I woke up the next day. I was up for like maybe an hour, and then Not Like Us dropped. I said, "Come on, you got to be kidding me! You got to be kidding me!" So I go and I go on live again, and I'm listening again, and I'm like, first thing I say is, "This is not for me. This is not for me." I said, "This is a Cali record."
Mm-hmm.
I said, "It's not whack in the slightest."
Right.
But he made this for Cali,
Yeah.
and then it grew on me. I love that record now. I think it's
Mhm.
great, and
It is.
The A minor bar just,
A
Mhm.
and then
minor.
he made it, and he kind of framed it kind of like Tootsie Slide, right? Like at the end of the record, you dance into the
Stab
record,
this way. Stab that. I thought
right?
another shot that he did too in that song too, real quick, not to cut you off, Mick, was you know how Drake exaggerated the Dave Free part?
Mhm.
Kendrick
Yeah,
did the same thing with A minor, and I thought that was kind of a, you know what I mean, like a little tip for tat, like, ooh, you want to
Mhm.
hang on that? Ooh, watch this.
yeah. I mean, I think it's just, he did great. He, like
Hmm.
you said previously, he flipped the slaves joint at the end of the
Hmm.
song. Um,
The colonizer shit was good too. You're not a
People,
colleague, you're a colonizer. Yeah.
right? It's tough to kind of call him a pedophile. I feel
Hmm.
like I don't know if he's a pedophile. I feel like he's a groomer, and
Mhm.
the industry has a lot of groomers, and I felt like Drake might be a groomer. And that's unfortunate, but there's something to say about the genius of Kendrick to create a song that denounces grooming, denounces pedophilia, and have black people dancing to it,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
white people
Yeah.
all across the world, right? Because then it started to spiral because now people are kind of like, it goes back to what Kenny said, which I think is actually genius. People are like, oh yeah, that's right. You was on Degrassi. Oh, wait a second. You might be a culture vulture. Wait, hold on for a second, bro. You was around young girls. You do be talking to young girls, bro. Wait, you did call Rick Ross a racist to your moms. We didn't need to know that, bro. You
Right.
did. You are half Jewish, half white, whatever. Like, sir, I'm gonna dance to this joint now. Because I can't do nothing to you, and you probably not gonna see it. So I'm gonna just make my own videos and push the narrative further. And I think Kendrick put it in people's hands. And the scary part about it is, from what I know, Kendrick had like 10 records, and he was editing in real time. So the 2 weeks where Drake and the OVO fans were saying, you're taking too long to drop. You're taking too long. Where's he at? Where's he at? Where's he at? Drop. He was recording that whole time over different beats, and he was giving you different moods for different records. And he would just edit. He would take out maybe like a bar, maybe verses here and there, rap, and then drop on you. Now, I think he went from Drake, academics, and the OVO fan base saying drop to saying stop.
Yeah,
stop.
No, that's a
stop
fact.
Dropping.
Yeah,
because I heard he was gonna drop again. Because that record dropped Saturday. He was gonna drop again Sunday night or Monday
or something. I think the rumor was like Monday. It was gonna be something else.
It was gonna be something else.
Yeah.
And then Drake. I don't want to cut in front of Kenny.
For sure. So for you, Kenny, like you said, like our initial reaction was like, yo, this is a very deep cut California record. Is this for us or whatever? Like, did you have that same reaction to it?
Man, look, me personally, I know you're not that big into the California sound. That's my favorite sound.
Okay.
For me, like, Doggy Style is the best rap album of all time to me. Like,
I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, I never even been to LA, but Miami we got similar weather. We got palm trees too. We got beaches.
LA is beautiful, man.
Yeah, our women look a certain way too. So like, it's easy. Like, even though these artists ain't from there, but like if you like heard the East Siders, if you heard Dog Pound, if you heard these types of acts, and then you hear this song, it's like, oh, Kendrick really digging into the LA thing, and he got his own sound, so we don't ever really hear that from him.
Yeah.
And it didn't click for me until the third verse where he's talking to Drake about going to Atlanta and stealing from them.
Mm-hmm.
Why Kendrick would like double and triple down on where he's from.
Where I'm
like,
from, yeah.
This is what you don't do.
Absolutely.
And that Atlanta verse itself, obviously, like the flip on, like that was like a battle rap round.
Yeah.
Like 100%. The flip on it, and like I was going crazy off that. But then again, like you start to notice the stuff you kind of just let Drake get by on. So he came out, and again, Knife One is my favorite producer of all time. So he came out, comeback season, he's this underground guy on these soul samples, and he's doing a little bit of singing too. He's using Fonte's flow throughout that whole project, which I'm not mad at. Fonte,
a lot of introspection and shit like that. Yeah,
and then So Far Gone, he's doing a lot of Houston stuff, and then he kind of sticks with that a little bit. Take Care, he's getting all this help from The Weeknd, and then None Was the Same is my favorite Drake album. That's incredible. And then he gets the views, and now he's digging into his Toronto bag, and then he goes out to the UK, and then he tried to come to Miami, and he made what's the name of the Khaled song?
Pop Star and
no, not Pop Star. To the Max.
Okay.
And me personally, I thought it was cool. I actually kind of liked it. It was like, you ain't do our sound right, but I respect the attempt. The city hated it. It was like all kinds of this shit, fool, fuck nigga, get like all kind of like, I was like, whoa, like that song got panned in the city. So he just didn't come back, and he went off to Atlanta and did all that stuff. And so that Atlanta verse really hit me like, damn, I ain't even realize it, but you really, let's look back now. Like, do you have your own identity in this thing?
Right.
And we're gonna get into the hard part 6 and what really unraveled all that for me, but like, man, that was the knockout. Not like it was the knockout. Because again, you gotta think about the talk about Kendrick even before this. If you're not a Kendrick fan, I understand it, because he like there's albums from Kendrick that I really like and I don't go back to really, because it's like it's a lot of depth in it. I don't really want to deal with that shit all the time.
Yeah.
But the talk about him was like the replay value thing. I did not stop playing Not Like Us from the time it came out to when I was about to get on here.
Yeah.
Like, it's this infectious, like,
no, it really is. It really
is. And that's what Drake does to people. That's what he, like, because Back to Back was a hit, and that, like, Meek responded to it, but the response was weak anyway.
And nobody even remembers it.
Yeah, like, you just can't beat that, and he beat Drake at his own game with this making a hit record thing. It's just like, man.
I think that's the story of the whole battle, though. Is he beat Drake at his own game because it's like
Drake was trying to be funny too, and there's a whole bunch of jokes on him. And
you let Kendrick make the Cali record before you, and he's from Cali. Like, you let Kendrick do that. Like, bro, you had to know that Kendrick was going to go back to his roots at some point, and you didn't try to beat him to the punch. And that's what I'm saying. Like, his Drake strategy was completely off. First of all, you played number one.
Yeah.
And because again, I'm not even saying he shouldn't have dropped push-ups. I'm saying that Family Matters is supposed to come first. Let's bring all the heavy guns out off the rip. And then if Kendrick take a couple days, then give us push-ups. Because maybe it would have been received better if we get push-ups second instead of first. Or he would have edited
it and made it more.
Absolutely. It would have been a little bit more direct, a little bit more personal or whatever. And we would have probably accepted that a little more than we do now when we go back and look at it. But Not Like Us it turned into a whole thing on its own. Like, now it's its own thing. So you can't even stop it now. It's beyond just Kendrick. It's beyond just a Kendrick song. This is a thing now. Like, kids are involved in it. Like, everybody's involved in making TikToks and dances. And this is what Drake does. Like you just said, like, this is Drake's game. So to beat him at his own game was insane. So then we get that. Then we get the Hard Part 6, right? I got the notification that we got the Hard Part 6. Let me be accurate with the date on this. It was May 5th, right? So basically the day after Not Like Us. I wasn't mad at it when I heard it, but I was just like, damn, man, I like this, but damn, like, not against Kendrick. Like, just not against Kendrick. I do like it though. I like the rapping on it and all that shit. I like the attempt that because in rap beef, you know, if you start bringing up shit that you shouldn't talk about and it's taboo, hey man, it's rap beef. Like, fuck it. It is what it is, right? Cool. We've all bought into this, that it's rap beef. The gloves is off. We're going to talk about whatever. I just wish it would have been a little bit more accurate because the very first thing that people pointed out was that Mother I song was not about that, dog. Like,
right.
That wasn't it. You missed the point, man. Like, you really, really missed the point. And if you had been more accurate or just left that out completely, then maybe that song would have been received better. But I think after that bar, a lot of people checked out and was like, oh, I see what's going on here. Okay. Yeah, it's over with. We can wrap this up. Everybody started calling it like white flag rap. Did you feel like that when you heard it?
When I heard it, I didn't think it was white flag rap. I just thought he was responding to the pedophile claims.
Right. Yeah, right.
The issue is at the end of the song. If he doesn't start talking at the end of the song, Kendrick drops. It's when he starts talking. That's the thing. He talks too much. If he would have just left it after he stopped rapping, Kendrick drops again. And this would probably still get records. We still get records. Yep. Him saying, all right, I know you're going to drop 10 more. And why don't you start telling the truth? Like, that's what it sounded like to me. Why don't you start telling the truth about me? Like, why are you lying? And that's what it sounded like. And it was just like, once you start telling the truth, then maybe I'll respond back to you. Like, that's what it sounded like to me. And the verse was great. I thought the verse was really good.
Yeah.
But the talking is what got us out. It's like, your fans need to thank me for you dropping music now. Say thank you, right? Like, that's what it sounded sassy. It sounded sassy. So when people say that it was like a white flag, I don't think it was a white flag. It was more so like, he just sounded like, I want you to attack me in this way and not attack me in the way that you're doing it. You know what I'm saying? And that's not how you do it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So that's my take on the whole.
But Kitty, before we get to like your take on the joint, the one thing that I didn't like, though, I will say about the discourse around that song was like, people before Drake responded were like, well, Drake got to say something about these pedophile accusations. And then as soon as he said something, it was like, well, he said something about it. He's guilty. He's explaining this up. And it's like, come on, dog. Can we keep it? You know what I'm saying? Like, can we pick a side and stay there? Like, or do you want to respond to it or do you not want to respond to it? You responded to it. You don't have to like what he said, but he responded to it. So it's like, we can't say he's guilty if he doesn't say something. He's guilty if he does say something. You know what I'm saying? Like that was a little thing that I was just kind of like, okay, like what are we doing here? But when you heard the Heart Part 6, like obviously it's a play on, Kendrick got the Heart series and all that. But when you heard the Heart Part 6, what did you think at that point of the battle?
I feel like he knew he lost. Because when he posted it himself, like the poster was like, I know you're gonna drop 6 minutes after this and whatever.
Yeah.
Like he knew he lost. And he was rapping on that at first though, but again, it's like, man, you drop a diss record, people gonna look into those lyrics. So like he said, whoever's giving you information is clowns, and then 20 seconds later you said you planted the information. It's like, what's going on with this? And then the Mother I Sober thing, man, and this is what I wanted to get to when I said earlier about Drake and like his place in the culture and like his like kind of an awkward fit, right? One, that song wasn't about that. And he had also mentioned, he had also said Top robbed Kendrick's dad, but that's a play on the Duckworth story.
Right.
Which Kendrick's dad like befriended Top back then.
Yeah.
Like that's not how that went. And so it's like,
right.
I walked away from this looking at Drake different, and it had nothing to do with anything anybody said about Drake. It was him, just shit he was doing. Because how's the biggest rapper in the world on the planet not have the basic concept of storytelling in rap? How is he missing these things?
Yeah.
And so then I'm asking, like, well, is he even in this for the love of it, or is he just like cosplaying people he thinks is cool? Because this whole time he's been, I'm gonna go to this city, I'm gonna dress like this, talk like this. I'm gonna go to this city, dress like this, talk like this. This is hot. I'm gonna hop on this, whatever. And that's not to take away from his credit, from his talent, right? He's obviously talented. I haven't liked the Drake project in a while, but I'm not going to discredit his talent. But I started to even like question his place in this whole thing, because if you can't, like, Kendrick blatantly said his dad befriended Top and Top didn't rob him. He blatantly said nothing happened to him multiple times in that song. It was his mom. And it's like, to misfire on that, you kind of, even if it's not true, you play and you prove the culture vulture people right. And then to misfire on the Mother I Sober thing, and now you're showing this insensitivity to child sexual abuse. Right, it's like, so now, even if that's not true, you swung and you missed on
something so bad, bro. Like you swung and missed on something that's so bad that the people who just watching was like, wait a minute, that's how you feel? Like, oh.
And now it's like, people who would never do something like that, we would never make fun of something like that either. And you didn't even get the right person. And so even not saying it's true, not saying it's not, I don't know, I'm not there, but it's just like, you're proving people right without them actually even needing to have proof.
Yeah.
And like, even if you never did this, just address it. I'm not going to sit here and say don't address it, because you definitely have to say you didn't do that. But
yeah,
do it in a way that dismisses it. Don't like Mariah. He mentioned the Mariah Carey song. Like, it was real. Like, you got those if you have those accusations on, you can't show insensitivity towards it.
For sure. And because even for the listeners, like even if it didn't happen to you, if you have somebody in your friend group, your family who it happened to, it's probably a little difficult listening to that, because you're like, damn, man, like this is not something I can probably like repeat around, them. And not saying that some of the other like crazy things that they were saying, around, but again, like we said, it was rap beef. Once you buy into the fact that this is rap beef, we gonna hear some shit that we probably don't want to hear. Even like when Drake said, when I tell you I'll hit you back, it's a lot safer. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? But we at that part. Mickey, listen, thank you for joining us, my brother. Before you get up out of here, because we about to get to the the end of this shit and all that. Before you get up out of here, what you got going on right now? What's next to come for Pendulum Inc? Because we talked about this the last time you was on the show and all that. What's just what's going on right now?
Well, we got Styles P pulling up May 22nd.
Shout out to the Ghost.
So yeah, Ghost is pulling up. Then June is West Coast month. So we got Crooked Eye coming through.
Okay.
To show love. And obviously August is Women's Month. I got a couple of
Bethany used to rap, right? So I
Word?
know she gonna be on there. Yeah,
Oh yeah, we
word.
got.
Oh no, yeah, we gotta talk. We gonna talk later.
I gotta hear that.
Trust me, we gonna talk later, Mick. Don't even worry about that. We gonna talk later. Trust me. Yeah,
I need to hear. I need to see what's up. That'll be
yeah, we gonna talk
fire.
about that.
So yeah, that's on the pendulum front, and on my side, I got some projects coming out this year. Been quiet for a little while, so I'm spinning the block and making
Okay.
sure the people are reminded of what it is that I do, and more
Mm-hmm.
breakdowns are on the way. I got a 6:16 a.m. breakdown coming tomorrow. That's my last one of the battle.
Okay.
Because I didn't realize, I started digging deeper. I was like, wait a second, he was talking about Drake in the very beginning of the song. We'll get to it. Y'all
Yeah.
see what I'm talking
All
about.
right, yeah, man. Listen, dog, Kenny, stick around real quick, man. We still got some, we still got a couple more things. But Mickey, you gotta get up out of here. Thank you for joining us again, my
Appreciate
brother. I
y'all.
appreciate you greatly, bro. Thank you.
Absolutely. Great meeting you, Kenny. Peace, Beth.
Nice to meet you too.
My guy.
My
Peace.
guy, man. So Kenny,
Mhm.
we've reached the point of the show where obviously we all can declare Kendrick Lamar won this great rap battle. Obviously, I don't think that we need to spend a lot of time on trying to debate that. And I think one of the things is like for everybody that's trying to make a case for Drake winning the battle, I would just ask you to ask yourself, if Drake did the things that Kendrick Lamar did and Kendrick Lamar did the things Drake did, would you still feel the same way? But I have a feeling the answer would be, a lot different had it went, the other way. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And everybody know I fuck with Drake.
Yeah.
So like this is not some, you're not gonna catch me on here like, no, but when he said, but he has said, you're not gonna catch me doing that, bro, because the number one thing above all is I owe it to myself to be real. I owe it to the people that listen to me to be real. I'm never gonna pick a side, especially with two niggas I don't know. Like, if Bethany get in a rap battle, my bias gonna show. I don't care what you say. If Kenny was rapping and he was in a rap battle, my bias gonna show. I don't care what you say. Like, I'm loyal to my friends, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know Kendrick or Drake. But I do think the one thing that got reinforced throughout this battle, which is why Kendrick won convincingly, is that Kendrick Lamar is way more relatable than Drake is to the common person. And that's the reason why people push back against his music. I told this story before on this show. I think it was on the show. Wale, and I'm not saying Wale and Kendrick are the same artist before anybody says, that. It took me a minute to really get into Wale's music because his content was very, very, very specific. A lot of his content was very like introspective, but in a different way. It was like specific things, and I couldn't get with it because like it was hitting home. And so when I finally sat down and I listened to it, I was like, man, this motherfucker is I can see why people don't like him, because he's being his real self in an industry full of people who are made to wear these masks and these disguises. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing with Kendrick Lamar. I think a lot of people who weren't necessarily big on Kendrick's music are coming around because they're like, but wait a minute. I need to look myself in the mirror and say, damn, I'm more like this motherfucker than I thought. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is content that I need to be listening to at my big age, as the kids say. You know what I'm saying? But we do have a couple questions. We had a couple questions right here before we get up out of here. Then we got two. Let me get to this first one. This one I thought was funny. It's from @Jack of Some Trades on Twitter. Can Drake survive a whole summer of everyone yelling a minor at every function on every playlist? Should he go into hibernation? What you think?
He needs to drop something to keep people's minds off it. But again, those are serious accusations. Those are serious things to have people dancing to.
Yeah.
And look, I like Drake, right? But I've never been like I've always been a bigger Kendrick fan than Drake for the reasons you said. Like,
for sure.
I like that, like easily digestible music too. But Kendrick came out. Well, a girl put me onto Kendrick, and I ignored it because I didn't like the song she showed me. To be honest with you, but Section 80, like, it was just so. And then Good Kid, Mad City is kind of my story. Like, I was the kid in Liberty City around all the people who was going to jail and all this stuff, and like three of my eighth grade classmates got killed, and I was just stayed out the way. But so Good Kid, Mad City was my story. But I like Drake. But I will say, Drake is already in a place to where his music ain't really hitting the same as it did a few years ago.
Right.
And then this happens. Right. And I'm not comparing the two because I was very young when this happened, but people do like to pretend Ja Rule ain't have some shit. Ja Rule, before 50 Cent, before he lost that battle, and I go back, those songs still sound good as fuck.
Yeah. He got for
He
sure.
dominated the charts, all that stuff. History does repeat itself. I'm not saying it's going to happen to Drake, but I am going to say I don't know if it's out of the question because we've seen it before.
I'm not mad at that. Listen, producer Bethany said the same thing for a very long time since we've been podding together. That Drake does need to go ahead and take that vacation. The same way that Jay-Z said that he literally retired because he hadn't taken a vacation. It wasn't him being done with rap necessarily. He was just like, yo, dog, I need a break. So you know what? Let me just tell y'all niggas I quit for a minute so y'all can leave me alone about this shit. I need to get away. And Drake has not taken a break in like fucking 15 years, bro. Like not really. You know what I'm saying? So like that's the first thing I thought about when the break thing came to mind was producer Bethany talking about, yo, bro, you got to go away, live some life, and get some more content, get some more kind of grown up content that we can kind of listen to. Talk about fatherhood, talk about if you can't find a woman, talk about like really in depth why, what type of woman do you want, like what like just these things that Kendrick Lamar seems very willing to talk about. You know what I'm saying? So my answer to that question is he should not be outside because he should be taking a break and doing that vacation that he talked about on the Heart Part 6, and it was another song I think Family Matters. He said he was taking vacation as well. Yeah, bro, like don't be outside while people are dancing to a song about you being an offender. Like that's not because you know that when you show your face, they're gonna play that song just to get the content up. You know what I'm saying? And then we have.
Sorry, not to cut you off, but I do want to say that's a great point by you and Bethany about him needing to go away for a while and kind of because the content in the music has gotten stale because we talk about the relatability thing. I think the people who push back on Drake in the beginning was because they didn't want to admit to how relatable he was as far as the problems with the women and the relationships and the heartbreak stuff. But that's what people who like, because again, I like Drake. That's what we liked about him. And now he's not letting himself go through these things. Like he's living the rapper life and he's outside all the time. He's above it. And now the relatability in his music is gone. And now it's just kind of like microwavable food. So if he goes away for a while, live some life, I'm not going to say get into a relationship. He do what he wants in that field, but come back with something to talk about because he hasn't had anything to talk about in years.
For sure.
So if he does that, he'll be fine.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. Shout out to my dog at Antoinette Jr. on Twitter. She's hilarious for that name, by the way. She's hilarious, dog. Like I love her. How do you rank the disses from best to worst? This is tough. This is tough. Damn, I think. So this is a layered question for me because I like Family Matters, I like the song itself probably the most. But if I'm talking about diss records, I think Meet the Grams is number one. And Taylor Made Freestyle would probably have to be the worst.
I think I agree. That or the Heart Part 6.
Only reason I say Taylor Made Freestyle is because I did initially like it. Because I like the rapping he was doing. I like the angle. I did like the creativity because with all the AI talk, like I mentioned earlier in the show. But I think at this point now, knowing what we know, he was daring Kendrick to drop. Like that was the whole thing about it. Like, all right, well, since we waiting on you to drop, let me just give y'all something else in the meantime. And Kendrick proceeded to drop and step all over his releases. So it kind of made that like null and void. So I'm going to say that one was the worst, even though I don't dislike it. But I just think that if we're being fair to like what diss records are supposed to be and what they're supposed to accomplish, I think Meet the Grams is number one. Maybe 1A, 1B because Not Like Us obviously is a smash hit. I just like Meet the Grams more for the reasons I said earlier. Alchemist production, the content on it, just the disrespect on it, the directness of it. Like it's just an incredible diss record. So I would say that's number one. Family Matters is right there, and then Taylor Made Freestyle will probably be last for me.
Yeah, for me, Not Like Us and Meet the Grams kind of switch between 1 and 2 because Meet the Grams is a better diss. Yeah, obviously Not Like Us is a better song.
Right.
I will probably give the Heart Part 6 the edge for worst though because of the contrast between Taylor Made and the Heart Part 6 to where now he just sounds so defeated and deflated. Yeah. And he said Kendrick was responding too much, but then you look and they did the same amount of songs.
They did, yeah.
And so it's like I'll probably have to give that the worst, especially like the again like the angle of like the swing and miss on Mother by Sober and the people who actually did hit with it.
Yeah,
Like, nah,
yeah.
I can't get behind none of that. So I'll probably rank that the worst. But Tailor Made, I didn't like either.
Okay, yeah, yeah. No, I'm with that, man. I think this is a great fucking episode, man. I think
Mhm.
this is probably the best episode you can pull up to. Shout out to Mickey again. Shout out to producer Bethany for putting that together. You know what I'm saying? I told y'all on episode 31 that I might have a guest, and then I pulled up with two. You know what I'm saying? Um, we still got to talk to producer Bethany, man, about this. Me and producer Bethany are gonna have a conversation about this as well because I know she got some thoughts she want to share live on the air with you guys, and I can't wait to have this conversation with her because I'm sure that her perspective is gonna be y'all know what we do when we get together. You know what I'm saying? But in the meantime, man, listen, if, subscribe. You know what I mean? Check out the YouTube. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Tap in with all the episodes, man. It's episode 32. All for the love, man. We out.